That's not, and that, yeah, no, the ground looks to us like it's standing still.
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
No.
No? What'd you see while we were up there?
Just the blue sky, white clouds.
Yeah, is it flat or?
Pretty flat.
Pretty flat?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I was reading a lot of stuff on the flat Earth.
Okay, yeah. True.
It's true?
Yep.
Okay, all right, cool.
right.
God bless, brother.
Did you notice any curvature while we were up there?
Curvature? No.
No, there's no curvature?
It's just all flat.
Casey, how are you, mate? Pleased to meet you guys. There's no way there's curvature. We're round and flat, aren't we?
Definitely.
We are, aren't we? Thank you.
Flat as a pancake.
Most pilots know their plane is flying over a plane. A stationary plane. Always a smooth and level flight. We never feel the plane dipping its nose down. We only feel the landing. Everything beneath you while flying is level and motionless, just as expected, flying over a stationary plane. Sometimes it's hard to see far ahead of you, but other times...
You could probably see the Rockies from Kansas.
Wow.
But I mean, if it's a clear day, but if it's smoky or hazy, obviously we can't see much.
The world is so generous in its beauty, and you do your best to take pictures of it. It's just flat and gorgeous.
Silly actor not, you took the words right out of my mouth. Earth is flat and gorgeous, but they trick you to believe something else. Not every pilot instantly connects the dots and keeps quiet. Sometimes it can hit them 25 years later.
Hier in Australië. En dan is want dit ding behoudt zijn stand, dus dit blijft blauw en dit blijft bruin. Het is niet zo dat we opeens omklappen de verkeerde kant op. En dit was voor mij dat ik dacht, oh man. Waar heb ik dat nooit eerder gezien na 25 jaar in de cockpit? Dus zo geïndoctrineerd zijn we dus allemaal.
Better late than never. Most pilots may have skipped over their training manuals. In their Flight Dynamics Summary, Section 112 explains all you'll need to know about what you're flying over. Heck, the military knows the same thing. NASA admits it as well. In tons of documents available to the public. They just assumed nobody would pay attention.
This comes from the Army Research Laboratory. This one's from the CIA. There's another one from NASA. This report documents the definitions of linear aircraft model for the rigid aircraft of consistent mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. This comes right from our own government.
From the documents to the imagery, they are not flying around a curve heading to outer space. They are flying over a stationary, flat plane. Stop falling for the illusions. Every rocket goes up and then levels out. But let me guess, you saw the curvature in the images from satellites, the thousands of magical orbiting aluminum tin cans floating in space. It's all animation and games until one comes crashing down on your squad. Many crashed satellites have been reported the world over, and the one thing they all have in common is giant helium balloons attached to them. Of course, satellite technology is real. We get our weather information, communication equipment, and even some internet service from them. Look up Google Loon, for example. It's not that they wouldn't use the magical floating satellites if they could, it's that they don't physically exist, nor does the globe. They have been sending these up one at a time since it all began. I will allow them to explain it.
He got a patent on that in 1950, and those early balloons were so large they didn't have any way to launch them, except they actually launched them from aircraft carriers.
Modern scientific ballooning was born. It was also the genesis for NASA's newly developed super pressure balloon.
The reason for super pressure ballooning is they have absolutely stable altitude, day, night, and it doesn't matter how cold the atmosphere is. They are sealed.
So your shape is always the same, you always displace the same amount of air, and therefore you have the same amount of buoyancy all the time.
This day-to-night altitude stability allows super pressure balloons.
NASA's been using balloons for science research for over 30 years. The exploration that can be done on balloons is continuing to grow. Standard balloon that I fly is about 660 feet long when it's made. So when it's inflated, it's over 400 feet tall by 440 feet wide. Think of a dome stadium. That's how big my balloons are.
So let me get this straight. It is now public knowledge that they send up satellites on massive helium-filled balloons. As you should know, NASA is the largest consumer of helium in the world, for obvious reasons. But the issue with society is that they never critically think. Just think for a second here. If these are sent up to provide the world with all of the important information we need, and I'm sure the entire process is expensive and difficult to accomplish, then please explain to me what in the flat world do these pathetic animations do for you? Do they make you happy inside? Are they so super duper cool that you cannot see past the obvious CGI? The fact of the matter is everything NASA sends up on a balloon simply hovers above our motionless Earth. That is why they rarely speak about orbiting satellites, and of course, they never show footage. Here is some footage of a random evening with a man, the moon, and his Nikon P900. Notice anything floating up there?
The only thing that's been in space is your imagination.
Forget it, Bart. It's so bright out you can't see anything in the sky except the Fox satellite.
Another remarkable fact about NASA's balloon launches is that many are launched from Antarctica. Is it because we cannot travel past certain parallels to witness their launches with our own eyes? What else are they hiding from us over there? It would be nice if someone was allowed to truly explore Antarctica again. It sure has been a while since the last guy.
Greetings to you, my young friend.
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. Strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation, those to come after us, or even during your lifetime. Because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources.
This is ODD of ODD TV, Odd Reality, and I am here with Edward Hendry, the author of several books, including 9/11, Enemies Foreign and Domestic, Solving the Mysteries of Babylon the Great, Bloody Zion, and The Greatest Lie on Earth, Proof that Our World is Not a Moving Globe. He's an amazing researcher with a gift of being able to write easy-to-digest books that are packed full of information. Personally, I've read The Greatest Lie on Earth, and that's why we're here today. How would you kind of quickly summarize the conspiracy to hide the flat Earth as far as when it started, why it started, and who may be involved?
Okay. Well, this conspiracy started at first in the Garden of Eden, where Satan himself wants to drive from man any knowledge of God. And the idea here is that if we are on a globe, which is one of millions of globes that are spinning in an endless space, then we are reduced to insignificance. And if above us is not heaven, but rather empty, the empty vacuum of space, what that does is that removes God from his throne. The Bible states that heaven is his throne and the earth is his footstool. Well, if you go up beyond our atmosphere, and when you arrive there, there's nothing but empty space, what does that do? That removes God from the minds of men. Well, when we look up into heaven, it's an empty vacuum of space. There's no God up there. And so that's the idea here. The idea is to conceal the existence of God. Can you imagine if people understood that, in fact, we live on a flat earth and that we are covered with the firmament of a dome, just as the Bible states, and that we are unique in creation, and that the stars are in the firmament, that they are not far away, not distant, that above the firmament is heaven, God's throne, and that he's watching over us.